Daniel Yomtobian. I'm the CEO and founder of Advertise.com, and this is an introduction to remarketing. So there are several types of display that you can buy on the web. There's run-of-the-network, which is highly untargeted. There is channel and contextual, which are pretty similar. You're buying into specific verticals. And then you have behavioral, which is based on users' previous activity. And then you have remarketing or retargeting, which is a subset of behavioral, but it allows you to target even more finely, targeting to users that have expressed an interest in your product or service. So it's even more targeted than general behavioral. Some people call it remarketing, some people call it retargeting. The names are synonymous. Really, retargeting, what it does is it allows you to message users that have been to your site that have not converted. On average, about 3 to 4% of users that visit your website actually convert on that visit. So you're missing out on converting 96 to 97% of those users. Before remarketing, you really had no way of reaching back out and touching those users to drive them back to convert, unless that user filled out a lead form or signed up with their email, etc. So remarketing allows you to really bring those users back. And it's fairly simple. You just drop a line of code on your website, which allows the remarketing company to drop pixels and remessage those users at a later date. So, as I said a second ago, you drop a line of code on your website. That allows us to drop a cookie on the user's browser. Once a user visits your website and we drop a cookie, or the remarketing company drops a cookie, that enables the remarketing company to identify that user as they're surfing the internet. Once the user has that cookie and surfing the internet, they might be on Yahoo Sports or a number of websites. Then you're able to display a banner ad to that user after they've left your website. And once the user sees the ad, the idea is they click on that ad and it drives them back to your website to convert that sale. There are many benefits to remarketing. You can market to your own visitors as opposed to buying display across the web. It's highly targeted. You're not broadly buying advertising across the internet or a specific vertical. It's very, very targeted. Companies that utilize remarketing see a lift of 300 to 400% on the click-through rate for remarketing as opposed to traditional display. The companies that utilize remarketing see an overall increase of 42% of return traffic in the US, and in the UK, studies show that there's a 72% increase. Remarketing really builds brand and trust relationships with these potential buyers. If you think about it, it's important to brand your product to these users, get into their head. Somebody comes to your website, looks at your product, is interested but doesn't complete the transaction of buying, then leaves for the next 30 days or 10 days or 15 days, however you want to do it. You can brand your product or service to that user so that at any time when they're thinking about buying a product within your vertical, they think of buying your product because you've gotten into their head. Remarketing works really well with all sorts of traffic, whether you're buying email marketing, display, search marketing, SEO, social media. You can really utilize remarketing for all of your marketing efforts. Conversely, if you are only interested in, say, doing remarketing for users that are organically reaching your website, you can do that as well. Remarketing is extremely flexible. Depending on the network that you're working with, you can buy remarketing on a cost per click basis, which is similar to the Google model. You can buy it on a CPM, where you're paying a fixed fee for every 1,000 impressions, or you can buy it on a CPA basis based on actions when the users come back and purchase. There are a number of strategies, targeting strategies for retargeting. The traditional one, which is simply retargeting your product or service to the users that have recently visited your website but that didn't buy. Segmentation, you can segment in such a way where you're only targeting users that actually purchase something. So you can send a message that says, hey, thank you for purchasing our product recently, here's a coupon to come back and buy. Or let's say you only want to retarget to users that have been to a specific section of your website. you're able to do that. Some companies are now offering dynamic targeting, so that when a user visits your site, looks at a specific product, leaves, you can message them with a banner ad of your company with the actual product they were looking at. Now, some companies decide that they would opt out of dynamic because it kind of gets a little too close to home for these companies. Users sometimes think that Big Brother's watching when you're actually showing the product that they recently visited. So it really depends on what your marketing strategy is, if you want to go granular or if you want to stay a little more broad and just market your company. There are a number of messaging strategies for remarketing. Obviously the simple one is just reminding the visitor of your website, or you can do special offers. Free shipping if you click this banner ad now, 10% discount by clicking on this banner now. Dynamic, as we spoke about a second ago, is huge, and that actually has the highest click-through rate that we've seen from the advertisers that we work with. You could utilize remarketing as a newsletter, messaging users about fall special, fall promotion that's going on, or different types of offerings or news and events that are happening at your website. You can also do audience extension. If you resell traffic on your website and you have a finite amount of inventory, you can advertise for your customers across the internet using these cookies that you've dropped. And again, I'm really excited about remarketing. I think that it's really important for anyone that's online selling products or services to utilize remarketing. The effects are an overall lift in conversion rates across the board, and I highly recommend it. I think it's really exciting, and when it comes to display, in my opinion, it's really the only way to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Just before I didn't ask you guys any questions, and